Hello everybody and welcome to class tonight. So tonight we are talking about characterization in The Giver by Lewis Lowry. So just for review, last time we talked a little bit about plot structure and we diagrammed the plot in The Giver. I also assigned you to go and diagram the plot in your favorite movie or book and to bring it to class. We've had a lot of opportunities now to work on our class projects, and we should be nearing completion soon. I wanted to talk today about characters so that we can understand how important it is when we introduce our characters and how we can really make these people come to life in our stories. First, I'd like to talk a little bit about one of the different ways that you can use characterization. There are two different ways: indirect and direct characterization. This first is direct characterization. The definition is that the author or narrator makes direct statements about a character's traits, and the author tells us about the character's personality to our face. So this is more like a description that is just plain out and just plain stated, right? An example of this is this sentence right here. The patient boy and the quiet girl were both well-mannered and did not disobey their mother. So this is an example of direct characterization. Now we can move on to indirect characterization. Indirect characterization is that the author or narrator reveals a character's traits through his or her actions and speech. So instead of just straight off saying, oh, hey, this person's good, or this person's bad, or this person likes to do this, or this person is really funny, really spunky. Instead, they'll describe the person through the actions that they are committing. For example, as this example here says, as Jane walked past the box labeled Free Puppies, she furtively glanced around her, then gave the box a swift kick. So you can ask yourself, what does this sentence say about Jane? And it's telling us that Jane is not really a very nice person, right? She's looking at the free puppies and like noticing that there's nobody else around her and then kicking them, like making them have like pain. You can see through her actions that she's not a very nice person, instead of simply saying Jane is bad. This form is used a lot within movies or TV shows. You don't normally have somebody say, the sweet girl with red hair ran 3 miles. You normally are going to have a little bit of a description or an action. You're going to have an action tell more about her than an actual description. So, moving on, we'd like to go now into analyzing two of our main characters in The Giver. The first one is Jonas. So some background information, right? When we analyze characters, we should look at their background and see then some of the examples of the text and what it tells us about him. I only have one example here, but I could find many, many more. So some information about him that you can gain from reading the text is that he is an 11-year-old boy with a keen gift of perception. He has a younger sister named Lily, and he likes volunteering at all the areas of work because he likes to help out. So he is a sensitive boy who's aware of the world around him. As he learns, his scope of the world widens and his passion for life deepens. Sorry guys, there's a grammar error there. Yet he remains level-headed and wise throughout the story. One example here that you can sense his characterization is this passage which says, it was against the rules for children or adults to look at another's nakedness, but the rule did not apply to new children or the old. Jonas was glad. He couldn't see why it was necessary. He liked the feeling of safety here in this warm and quiet room. He liked the expression of trust on the woman's face as she lay in the water, unprotected, exposed, and free. So this passage actually gives us a big insight into Jonas's character, that even though he knows what the rules are, he's glad that it's not necessary, that he does want to kind of push the boundaries, that he does have a little bit of a rebellious spirit in him. Other passages to look at when you are analyzing the character of Jonas is when he is selected to be the receiver of memories. And the head elder is the chief of elder is listing all the traits that a receiver needs, such as courage and being smart and other things that Jonas has as well. Moving on, we're now going to go and look at the character of the giver. So some background information on him is that he is the old receiver of memories, and though he is not elderly, he seems older than his years due to the painful memories that he holds. He is the father of Rosemary, who asked to be released early, and due to his understanding of death, this is a very painful memory for him. He thinks it would be better if the community had all of the memories and learned how to deal with them. He actually creates a plan for this at the end, which him and Jonas do fulfill, even though we don't see the result of that in this book. An example here that you can kind of read into characterization, this is kind of indirect characterization, says the committee of elders was sitting together in a group, and the chief elder's eyes were now on one who sat in the midst, but seemed oddly separate from them. You could also argue that this is direct characterization because it's saying that he is separate, but it's from the actions of the others that you could actually get this person's personality. You can get a sense of who he is, that he's separate from others. He's different. You can also think of the scenes that he's sharing with Jonas when he talks about Rosemary, when he shares his ideas, and you can really get a sense of who the giver is in these moments. So, having analyzed these characters, let's review back. There's direct characterization, which is us telling plainly that it's a patient boy or a quiet girl who this person is. Or indirect characterization, which is letting the actions speak for themselves. So, we are going to prepare to do this with our short stories and our videos. So, you can, in class next time when we come, I would like to have you guys have identified 3 examples, 3 passages that talk about Jonas's character and 3 examples that talk about the giver's character. And then we will review those in class, and we will work on the stories and work on developing the characters that you want to portray in your stories. Thank you everybody for this lesson, and have a good night.